Today is one of those days when we get a twofer. I'm doing rice and beans, and Joe decided that he was going to make a pot roast. And so I'm going to leave the camera turned on, and we're going to watch what Joe does when he makes his wonderful pot roast. You're watching the Bear Pantry Show. While I'm cooking rice and beans for dinner today, Joe is making this roast. And so this is one of my good stainless steel pots right here that he put some oil in it. He seasoned the roast with a salt, batata, and ricotta, and of course he washed it first with some lemon, and then he tied it up with this rope. And sometimes you can get the roast that comes with its own rope, but keep clean white rope in your kitchen to tie up your roast. And he's browning it on both sides in this pot, so now he's getting ready to turn it. I think he needs some help. He's turning it before it burns. You need a steady hand. He's just going to let it brown on the other side. There we go. And he's just going to allow it to brown on the other side, and then I'll show you what he does next with this roast. See what a pro Joe is. He even cooked it on the sides. And what he's going to do in a little while is take this from this pot so he can saute some onion in this before we get this pot roast to the oven. This is the leftover water off of the meat, the ricotta and stuff in it that he's going to use as his marinade. This is onions that he's going to saute in that pot in a little while. Let's see what he's doing. He's making it nice and brown. Joe has a theory about his meat. If it ain't black, send it back. He does not like anything medium rare or rare. He likes everything to be well done or overcooked or burnt. Well, as you can see, he didn't need to take the roast out of the pot in order to saute his onions. He just kind of stood it up on its sides while the sides cooked. And he is just sauteing his onion underneath the roast. What's going to happen after this, Joe? This is not going to be cooked on the stove top the whole time, right?
Add water.
You're going to add a little bit of water?
Add a little bit of water, some cilantro and pepper.
Water, cilantro, pepper. Okay. So he's going to add his spices, I guess. And you can add other stuff to this, you know. You can add other spices that I probably don't even know the name of, like thyme and tarragon and whatever it is you guys like. But I named the show Bear Pantry Show because we do everything really bare here. For me, less is always more. I don't like too many things on top of my meat because then it drowns the taste of the meat. I want to taste it. I don't want to have one spice overpowering everything and make it not enjoyable. So I guess he's going to let this cook here for like another 5 minutes. And then we're going to see what he does next. Just taking a look as our onions saute. Look how beautiful and golden brown the onion has sauteed. Still firm, not soggy. And the roast is ready. And now let's see what else Joe does to it. He's the leftover marinade, and he puts some cilantro in it. Is that to about how full you want your liquid, or are you going to add more?
A little bit more.
Okay, he's going to add a little bit more liquid to this. And this is actually, he's going to do this pot roast in the oven. Adding a little bit more liquid. So let's see. He's going to put it in the oven now. Let's back up. Give him some room. And I've put the oven on 350. And it's heated up right now to about 275 thereabouts. And I'm not sure if he's going to wait for it to heat all the way up to 350.
Get them to rise.
Okay.
And there you go. We're going to leave this in here for the next 4 hours. Maybe 3.5 hours. We're going to check back on it, like say every half an hour or so, and This amount of water is pretty good for it, so you don't have to worry about it.
You're going to keep the lid on the whole time too?
Keep the lid on the whole time so you get nice and soft, and so when it's finished, you just take it with the fork and just pull it right off and have some tender meat.
It's been 3.5 hours since we put the pot roast in the oven, and now he took it from the oven and he's gonna let this gravy cook down for a little bit so it's not so thin. And so we're gonna put the lid back on, and in a little while we'll have the finished product. So here's Joe's beautiful roast. We just put it in this throwaway aluminum foil pan here, but look at all that gravy. Look at the roast. Beautiful. Let's get the first slice. So here we have our finished product, the first couple of slices on a platter. We're going to get the rest of that roast carved, and we're going to serve it with some rice and beans. Here's our roast. It came out perfect. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't stringy. It's moist. It's tasty. And it goes really, really well with anything that you want to serve it. If it's just vegetables, if it's with a carb, just anything. But we've got quite a bit. Well, I'm really glad we left that camera turned on, because that roast could not have come out any better than it did. It was moist, it was tender and spicy. And the one thing that it was not was stringy, because we got the good roast, the expensive kind, and Joe did just a bang up job with it by browning it first on top of the stove and then letting it just cook. He didn't even open the lid for 3.5 hours. He just let it cook. Normally he would put some potatoes like in quarters, and he would put it in there and we'd get some potatoes on it. But because we already had rice and beans for the carb, he decided not to do that. And so I thank him for working with us in the kitchen today, and we got a wonderful menu going for my son's birthday. Thank you for watching. I love you for subscribing. Thank you so much for picking up the book. And until I see you again, take care.